This is ION Hong Kong with Key.
And this is Harminder, and we'll be discussing the top news for the week involving Hong Kong and China.
So we just talked about the care home, and then we also heard something from CY Leung as well, from the Legislative Council.
Oh, yes. He said that it's a land issue.
Yes, I think everything is about land issue in Hong Kong. When you have a Occupy Central land issue, because people not happy, the young people not happy, they cannot buy apartments in Hong Kong. So everything is about the land shortage here. Yeah. So, but the funny thing is that last year when he had the same kind of answer a question session about his policy, some old people did actually kneel down and in begging him to not to demolish some of the old care homes.
Yes, there is around 1,000 residents in care homes, plural, in the Northeast New Territories development zones. Yeah. Again, plural, because there's actually not one site but 3 sites. One of the largest sites in Kutong actually has a number of care homes. And when they have to redevelop Kutong, they would have to demolish, including the care homes, which is quite bizarre, as you know, that CY Leung claims that the lack of care facilities is because of land issue, and now you're trying to deprive more care facilities, and I don't think this is right, is it?
Yeah, and then it seems that during this question and answer session last week going on, he also mentioned something. Of course, the focus was on about the political reform that will be tabled on the Legislative Council this month, and now the pandemic, they're going to Shenzhen to talk about to discuss that with the Chinese officials.
It's not just pandemic; it's everyone.
Also everyone.
All LegCo members are invited. Sid Ho apparently didn't. I just read the news that couldn't get her permit to China. That would be interesting. So at least she probably is not going.
She's not going. She actually said that she wouldn't. She's not going actually.
Oh, so she's not going anyway, but regardless of the.
I also read it from Claudia Mo's Facebook about she has this summary of people who's going, who's not going, and one of these guy, I think it was. I don't remember the name, but one guy said that he couldn't go, but he's on the pro-establishment camp. He said he couldn't go because of the grandson's birthday.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's more important than the political reform, I think.
Actually, talking about the pro-Beijing, pro-establishment camps, originally they were arranged to have 10 questions. To table 10 questions during the meeting with the Chinese officials. 7 of them would be given to the pro-establishment, pro-Beijing camp.
Right.
The 3 questions will be going to the Pan-Democrat camp. And then Liberal Party immediately says that they think that since the meeting is really about Pan-Dems more than anything, they would rather give all the questions to Pan-Dems to ask, and they would just sit there in silence. So I think that actually
they would just eat peanuts.
Yeah,
popcorns.
I think it's actually, although CY invited everyone and invited himself to go to the meeting, we all know that it's really about Pan-Dems asking questions to Chinese officials of what they can provide, or whether they can at least extract some concessions from China. Now, we know that concessions are quite unlikely. And the pass of the reform is also seemingly unlikely because of the 2/3 threshold. I still think that the Pan-Dems would be able to make enough minority to block the passage of the bill. Although, of course, the situation could change. It really depends on Sunday's meeting, and see what offer.
Do you think that there will be some hope to change?
I don't think so. I think that they would just basically, it would be a pantomime. So it would just be a show to say that we have listened and that's about it for Chinese officials. And for Pandams, it's really just we have go there to protest and to voice out our discontent, and then that's about it. A number of Pandams are actually very unhappy about the dates because the same day would be the rally for commemorating the June 4th.
And CY Leung, I think he also made a very interesting,
Yes, he said that
comments.
He says that the chance to meet the Chinese officials is very important, and that since it's not really the 5th or 10th or the decile
the anniversary of June 4th,
it's not really as important as meeting the Chinese officials. Of course, I think the choice of date is quite deliberate. I think it's deliberately chosen to make sure the pandemic face the dilemma. And I think that the more interesting thing would be whether they would actually ask in the face to the Chinese officials about June 4th.
It's also quite interesting to note one thing is that usually this period is a very sensitive period in China, and if they ask Pandam to go into China, and that's kind of, wouldn't it be more dangerous for them to let the Pandam to go in China?
Well, obviously the whole trip will be controlled. They won't be able to mingle with the public. They will be just bussed to a venue and have a meeting, and then they will be maybe bussed off. So for it's well contained, so the safety margin is quite high. One of the more interesting thing is it tells how Xi Jinping is a lot more assertive and a lot more assertive and certain about his own fate.
Right.
He doesn't think that this sort of thing will affect him, and he don't mind whether. I don't think he actually mind whether the political reform bill would pass or not. Some people would cynically say that the Chinese government actually doesn't want the political reform bill to be passed at all.
But if it's not passed, then Hong Kong will always, within this struggle of political reform, then wouldn't it be disadvantage to PRC?
Yes and no. It's very difficult to actually ascertain. There's a number of factions in the PRC government that are vying for control and vying for whether their voice would be heard. So one's draft, it will be someone else's poison, and therefore it depends really in the power struggle in China. And it will depends on, again, what we in Hong Kong will do if it doesn't pass. Well, if it doesn't pass, then there might be just the whole society will just slump because yes, we have stopped the thing, but we have no longer have the impetus really to because during the Occupy movement last year, a lot of energy has been spent already.
Right.
So people are saying they are planning another Occupy movement this year. If it doesn't pass, then obviously we won, and therefore we don't have the incentive to really to continue the struggle. And of course, there will be ongoing struggles, but there will be a period. A low ebb, a period which has very low ebb.
I think so.
So, on the other hand, if it surprisingly passed, then it might ignite another movement. Who we know? So we don't know. So it's very difficult to say whether we want it passed or not. I think certainly a lot of international governments would like the political reform bill to be passed. The American government and the British government have said quite vocally that they support the political reform package.
Even though it's not the genuine choice for Hong Kong people.
Yeah. Exactly.
But since we are also talking about June 4th coming as well, it's also not only China is very sensitive about it. It seems that Malaysia government's also taking it quite serious.
Yes, Malaysian government has denied entry for Joshua Wong and Leung Kwok Hong recently because apparently Malaysian civic society have invited them to a talk
Right.
in Malaysia
Right.
about social movements and about June 4th. Now, the interesting part is that whether they were denied entry because the Malaysian government thinks that they're dangerous,
Right.
or whether they're actually being leaked by Hong Kong government. The Security Bureau has a very interesting statement
Right.
about
I think so too.
their denial of entry. So they actually they are. What's
It's a
their word?
decision of the government,
It's a
of the
decision of the
Malaysian government.
and we are. I don't think they used the word welcomed, but they used the word
respect.
We respect the decision. Yes.
Yeah.
Some people think that respecting this decision includes giving them passport numbers so that they would actually be able to flag out the people who are going there. It's very true that both Joshua Wong and Leung Kwok Hong would use the SAR passport, which obviously the Hong Kong government has the full details
Right.
to be able to give to. Of course, this accusation is very strong, and I really wouldn't really say that it's necessarily true. I think it's more likely that the Malaysian government took the decision in their own hands and think that because there is a social unrest situation about ongoing Najib government,
Right.
they think that the Najib has stole the election. The UMNO, the United Malay National Organization, the front called UMNO, has won the recent election, rather very dirty means, including suddenly one of the poll counting station has power failure, and suddenly there are more votes.
I think from the Malaysia election, we can also draw the same experience in that we can foresee what happened in Hong Kong as well, because everyone in Malaysia, they does have a one man, one vote system there, just like what the government in Hong Kong proposed.
Actually, more open because
even more open than the one proposed by Hong Kong government.
Certainly, because there is absolutely no pre-selection in the process. You can all be the candidates. It's just that obviously the UMNO has the power and the ability to affect the election. UMNO being the current ruling government in Malaysia federal government.
Since because Joshua Wong is he couldn't get into Malaysia, so another person, Prince Wong, substituted Joshua Wong to attend that meeting in Malaysia. Prince Wong was one of our guest hosts as well, and in the previous episode, you may also visit our previous episode to see what Prince Wong was like.
Talk about actually Joshua left a number of messages for that. Because he was unable to enter the Malaysia, there was a teleconference, so his presence is still felt in the conference on June 4th. And I think that the greatest irony of his denial of entry is that now Malaysians actually know this kid. More Malaysians would know this kid.
Yes.
And I think it again, things like that has certainly backfired. It means that because I know there are a number of people who is trying to connect the democracy struggle in Hong Kong and in Malaysia. And I think this incident has heightened the link. The Bersih movement, the clean election movement in Malaysia, is again asking for free and fair elections, and even though they have one man, one vote, but general universal suffrage. But there's, as I said just earlier, that UMNO has a lot of control on the election. So now that Joshua Wong is now more known, then I think Malaysian government should be more careful because of the denial of entry than allowing him to enter, because now that he became a symbol of Malaysian government oppression.
And coming back to Hong Kong, and this week we also have a very interesting protest organized by the poor establishment camp, that's Chow Yong, because of one of the columnists from the Ming Pao, and
one of the former
columnists. She resigned because she's so ashamed of being one of them, and the reason why she resigned was because she wrote something about the police. She's supporting the police, and then she got quite a lot of attack from the general public and the netizens.
I don't think actually a lot is the right word. She got a number of attacks, and she actually, she actually quantifies there's a few people who are attacking her. There is only a limited number. I think a lot of people actually doesn't care about her column enough to actually write to her.
And then
she claimed that she was threatened by one of the netizens from again, very likely from Golden, that someone threatened her that she'll be killed and her family will be killed.
Right.
And of course,
I think that the correct word was that they are saying that the family of she and her family of 5 should be executed.
Yeah.
And then he actually left it on his Facebook, and he's one of the hosts in the show of on the radio online radio platform as well.
Right.
And he left that message on his Facebook, and then the police took action immediately and arrested him. And then it's because he was arrested because of the access of a computer with a criminal intent.
Yes.
So
very, very interesting. Very, very interesting crime to be in, this accessing computer with illegal or criminal intent.
True.
Because apparently the police can use it for everything.
Because it's as long as you have a criminal intent, then if you put your hand on the computer, that's been accessing the computer, then you will be like, let me say, like I put my hand on my computer and I think, oh, I having some dirty things doing to someone, and that it would be an offense, right, if they find it out.
Yeah. Originally it was designed for like actual hacking or things like that, but
online internet fraud.
Internet fraud it was originally, but the court and the Justice Department have extended into basically covering all crimes that is involving the computer. As long as you have a criminal intent,
right,
then it will be an offense that can be charged, which led to very, very interesting things, because in the similar case, they have now said that the smartphone is a computer.
Yes, the case law says so already.
And so basically everyone, as long as your hands are on some sort of electronic devices,
then it will be a computer.
Yeah.
And I remember some months ago, Fanny Law Fan Chiu Fan, and she actually sent a very interesting message to Albert Chan, the People Power legislative member. And she sent a message to him because she's trying to lobby, telling him to
support a bill.
To support a bill. And then of course, Albert Chan being Albert Chan, and he refused to do so. And then Fanny Law sent him a message saying that the God will punish you, or
something like that. Yes.
And then the word is even word not punish. It's saying that the God will make you vanish from the world or something.
Wow.
And then I mean this would be one of the offense of this access of a computer with a criminal intent as well, right? According to the logic of the police nowadays.
No, not just the logic of the police. I think it might even be the case on the case law. I'm not quite sure. And I'm not quite sure. But there are similar cases that this has been successfully this offense has been successfully charged, in fact, which is why the police are very proactive in charging people with this, because the bar of of the charged offense is immensely lower because it is mainly about the intent, right?
Right.
So the bar set is relatively lower than other actually real life offenses. So, for example, you could have charged him to not. What sort of charge that you when you threaten someone, then criminally threaten someone, then you can there is a law.
What about criminal intimidation?
Yeah, criminal intimidation.
Can I just say like something like I think the localists really like to say three words like "go to hell." would that be the criminal offense here? Because it's an intimidation as well. I'm telling you to go to hell. That means that you have to, you'll be killed.
Obviously, case law have a much higher standards on actual criminal offense against.
When it's in reality, but not in the cyber world. Though.
Yeah.
In reality, you have to really, apart from saying that you have to do something or preparation to do something.
Yeah.
That would be the real criminal intimidation offense. But from this internet crime, I would say that it's actually a thought crime, internet thought crime.
Yeah.
And we have one more case from the People Power, and you can see that what he's going to say after his arrest.
2點半嘅時間咧，我就同阿劉翁咧就喺容記食緊叉雞飯嘅。食到一半嘅時候就有。
Now we can see it's fast
Taxi Tam was arrested when he was having lunch in IONHK.
Yes, and the reason why he got arrested was because he left a Facebook message talking about some leader in the riots in 1967, and because that leader was very famous for making the bomb.
Yeah, bombs. Yeah.
And then, but in the local language, we call that pineapple.
Yes.
And then what he said in the Facebook was that why don't we just put some pineapple on the course of these person, and then when they opened it, then something will pop up.
Yeah.
That's what he left the message on the Facebook, and then now he got arrested, and then after he released by the police, he was making a statement outside the police station.
Yeah. So they were obviously they would get an arrest warrant when they want to charge you an offense, something like that, about accessing computer with criminal intent, something like that. Yeah. And as I said, as we discussed earlier, that the bar on this offense is much lower than actual real life offenses, and that's why the government is not the government but the police is very likely.
I think you're quite correct to say government, because IONHK and in the Legislative Council, he already said that they choose that Section 161, the internet thought crime to prosecute because it's easier to to prosecute. They actually said that, so it's quite right to say that it's a government.
Well, basically, so we the Section 161 of the criminal ordinance is basically have a very wide remit.
Yeah, and the government said that they were trying to, when they make the law, they make reference to the the Misuse of Computer Act in UK. But when we look at the act, I can't really see the similarity or anything close to similar to the Section 161.
Yeah, well, Section 161 is has a much wider remit and has a very loose definition of access to computer.
Yeah, and apart from that, Tam Tachi was also arrested for another offense, because the police obviously inquired something about what he said in the Legislative Council last week. What he said was that to the chairman, your mother.
Yeah, the problem, of course, is that although it's about context, isn't it? So, like he said to the chairman, Tam Kin Chung, saying that his mother should doing blah 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 blah. Can't remember the full phrase, but certainly it wasn't a profane. It wasn't actually used as a profanity, although the chairman, after hearing the word Lomo mother, then he immediately stopped Tam Tak Chi. So what did the police charge him for this?
Not particularly. They didn't mention that, so I have no idea yet.
Right.
Maybe we should get him to be a guest too.
Okay.
And coming to the last session of the this episode is that we're going to award someone of this week the Shame on You award. Do you have any idea that who we should give it to this week?
I think we should give it to the spokesperson of the Cambridge Care Home because it's so it's just so wrong that the way she presents herself and also the statement presented itself. Remember, we're talking. It's not just about her saying that it's not abusing people because they are stripped naked at the rooftop, but also they are claiming in their statements that they are providing best facilities. That's why they are worthy of providing service. I think they did I think the spokesperson or even the owner of the Cambridge Care Home should be shamed.
I totally agree. So the owner and the spokesperson of the Cambridge Care Home, and here,
shame on you.
Award to you. So thank you very much for listening to Ion Hong Kong, and please stay tuned, and then we'll come back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.